Welcome to Debate Crypto.
Question everything.
Trust nothing.
It's your boys, Keeper and Crusader, and we are here on a beautiful NFTuesday with some Apple blocks using NFTs to avoid App Store fees. I've got a hot take on this one. All right, so Apple updated its App Store policy to restrict apps from using NFTs to incentivize users to purchase items or features the tech giant can't tax. Let me read that again. They restricted apps from using NFTs to incentivize users to purchase items or features that the tech giant can't tax. The Cupertino, California-based company charges 30% both on all purchases made on its app store and all money spent when using apps. In a recent update, they updated its policies to prohibit apps from using NFTs that include buttons, external links of other calls to action that direct customers to purchasing mechanisms other than in-app purchase. Bottom line, this article, the whole thing says one thing. It says, if we can't tax it, if we can't make money on it, nobody's going to. So they're making 30% on anything that comes through the App Store. And so essentially what they were doing here is they said, hey, you cannot, okay, so let's say Debate Crypto or Danger Close. Let's say Danger Close has its own app on the App Store. So you sign in, you buy or get it for free, the Danger Close app. And then we say, hey, while you're here, if you were to buy an NFT or you were a holder of our NFTs that you can get wherever you got them, we're going to incentivize you by giving you 30% off on this. We're going to give you access to this. Basically, you're going to get a goodie bag or some sort of incentives for holding the NFT. Apple says no. Why do you think they say no? Plain and simple. They have no way for them personally to monetize it. I think it's crappy. I think that I don't own Apple, obviously. So I'm speaking just from a business owner's point of view. I get the basic idea. They're saying, hey, it's cutting us out. But is it? Because the question becomes, if used correctly and you sell NFTs,
they will come.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. So if you sell the NFTs somewhere else and you say, hey, you've got to jump on our app on the App Store, we got a lot going on over there. I feel like they're looking at this too much of a microscope. I feel like they're zoomed too far in, because if they zoomed out a little bit and looked what the NFT space is and is going to be, I think that 30%, though it's a huge number, I think that 30% could absolutely spill over and become more for them if they were willing to give it a little bit of time to grow.
The problem with Apple is, outside of what you said, which I completely agree, right? Everything's about microtransactions with applications, right? They want to make sure that you're doing a transaction and they're getting a piece of that microtransaction, right? You're making incentives to buy and sell stuff within your app, but it's connected to the Apple Store, yada, yada, yada. Outside of that, I think their problem is, and has been, is what I told you. We were having a conversation on the phone the other day, and I was telling you, Apple is super stringent on how they release apps, their standards for apps to being built, and anything that takes it outside of their guidelines is an instant hard no. It's like, oh, no, You're doing this, that takes you away from the app, that sends you over here to a website that does something else outside of our control. Nope, that's not going to be allowed. And it's for safety, right? And for their guidelines, yada, yada. But they're super stringent, right? Closed system, very difficult to please. And anything that you want to approve by them in the Apple Store takes weeks, and possibly multiple appeals, because you might not get it the first time. And you have to do revisions to your application and so forth. But I agree. I think that they can make a play easy in the NFT marketplace. They can create their own marketplace, right? And incorporate it into their Apple Store, where people are literally buying NFTs directly from their Apple Store. They can do it. I know they can. Whether they choose to or not is a different story, right? Liability purposes, especially if there's a project with a rug pull, yada, yada, yada. How they're going to be able to project their Apple standards onto the NFT space would be probably very difficult, practically impossible. And I think that's why they shy away from it. But if they were to create a standard of some kind and say, hey, if you want to be on this marketplace, you got to hit X numbers, X stats, whatever, and then start converting top tier projects that you know are not rug pulls, that you know are more if anything were to happen, Apple can go after them in some kind of way, somehow. then I think they can start moving into the NFT space and making it easier adoption, right? Buying directly on their Apple Store, which gives access to a ton of people because everybody almost in the entire world is using iPhones.
Yeah.
So yeah, they can make a move.